Saasa, prominent Indian business magnate, social philanthropist, a renowned corporate speaker, mentor, mindset and leadership coach, certified by world's #1 leadership coach, Marshall Goldsmith. He's the chairman and the managing director of the Raj Group of Companies, continuing business legacy which started right in 1958. He's been a serial entrepreneur and having diverse business experience globally. He has established subsidiaries at Panama, Poland, Holland, Turkey, Rwanda, Ghana, Singapore, as well as India. He's qualified master's degree in criminology, shouldn't scare you, and emotional intelligence, as well as PhD in leadership. As a member of the World Water Council, works in education and water, he's all set to give us absolute great inputs and share with us insights on business opportunities at Africa. And we are truly overwhelmed to welcome Your Excellencies, our ambassadors from different countries. Well, I'm going to request my lovely team of GMBF Global to kindly accompany them on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Kenya, may we please put hands together for Rosalinda. And request to kindly join us here. From Togo, our ambassador, Akau, a humble request to our ambassador, Akau, to kindly join us here from Togo. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for a lovely lady, Miss Rosalinda from Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue the applauses from Nigeria, Fayomi. A humble request to you, Fayomi, and all our ladies are looking beautiful today. Ladies and gentlemen, for Miss Rosalinda, and let's continue the applauses for Miss Fayomi. All the way from Nigeria, it's very, very special for us. May we please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome His Excellency, Mr. Edward Bizumermemi from Rwanda. Your Excellency, thank you for gracing us at our Global MahaBiz 2024, which is brought to us by GMBF Global. It's a very, very special moment for us. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us from Kenya, Rosalinda, from Nigeria, Miss Fayomi, and Your Excellency of Rwanda, Yodiod Bizumermemi. Thank you so much. Dr. Saasa, the time begins now and we are very excited to learn more opportunities from Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On an outset, it's a wonderful day today on this MahaBiz inaugural of this MahaBiz 24. And as my dear friend Simran requested to be on the time bound, I think your request is a command for us, so we'll definitely obey that. Ladies and gentlemen, when you hear about Africa, what comes into your mind? Opportunities. Africa is full of opportunities, and Africa as a continent is by far #1 in terms of resources, in terms of area, diversity. Area is so huge that you can put entire United States, entire Europe and Australia, and still there's a lot of space. So with this opportunities in hand, and we have experts from Kenya, Nigeria and Rwanda with us, I'm sure this exchange of knowledge and opportunities from them will pave a roadmap for many of our industrialists and businessmen living in Dubai. And Your Excellencies, many of them have flown from India and many different parts of the world to attend this session of 2 days MahaBiz. Starting with, it's Kenya. Rosalinda, Miss Rosalinda, Kenya is a very strategic country on the East African side. Can you brief us what are the opportunities Kenya is offering for interest of our businessmen in Dubai, and a lot of guests came from India.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to speak on behalf of Kenya and on behalf of Africa. I would say that most of us have heard about Kenya and we only know that it has these wonderful, beautiful tourism sites. But I would also like to tell you that Kenya exports the best roses actually in the world. You wouldn't get any rose flowers from any other part of the world than Kenya. And this is because we have the best weather, not because Africa does not have the best weather, but Africa is gifted differently. Apart from selling the best roses, we are also supplying food. Kenya exports horticulture, lots of horticulture to Europe and to the US. And right now, Kenya is also being seen as the center of a place where we can monitor and evaluate the climate change impact. We have seen so many countries, so many partners, funding partners coming to Kenya to finance the climate change activities and innovations within Kenya. We have IKEA, we have Luha Capital, we have the Gates, we have USAID. All this is because Kenya has been seen as a doorway and as an opportunity for expansion for Africa. Right now, Kenya is opening and facilitating trade where each and every part of the countries, the member states within the East African community is allowed and is empowered in terms of production, agricultural production. So we look at the potential of the members of the East African community, what Congo has to offer, what Uganda has to offer. We all know, my brothers and sisters from Uganda, that Uganda has the best vanilla in the world. Did someone know that vanilla that is consumed in the EU and in the US come from Uganda? But because of the challenges of standards and criteria that would enable Uganda make a lot of economic growth from their vanilla, it's been standardization and certification. And Kenya being part of the EAC country that has done so well in terms of implementation of standards and certification, right now Kenya is working with building a certification framework that will enable and ensure that when Uganda is selling their vanilla, they don't need to pass through brokers, but Uganda can be able to sell because Kenya is building together with Uganda a certifications network that is going to ensure that the quality of vanilla is acceptable in the US and the Uganda doesn't have to work through brokers. Same Kenya is right now facilitating and working with Trademark Africa to help Rwanda, our brothers from Rwanda, to build their accreditation country, accreditation body, Rwandan Accreditation Services. And I happen to be the technical expert who's working with Trademark Africa to ensure that there's harmonization with Rwanda in terms of certification. So Kenya is having the two biggest ports. We have 4 international airports, we have 2 seaports, we have dry ports. Like Kenya can connect different parts of Africa. Recently I'm coming from Nigeria where we were going to explore the good food, the good flavor from Nigeria, and it's all being made able because Kenya is positioned with understanding, with skills, with good labor and good soil. So that is all the opportunity.
Super. I think a lot of our businessmen and investors are taking note of your comments. Now, talking about Nigeria. Nigeria is a giant economy in the African continent, and the synonym to Nigeria is oil and gas. But I'm sure there is a lot of more to offer from Nigeria apart from oil and gas. Can you please, Madam Fioli, please explain something more on the opportunities of Nigeria to our members?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman of this session. My name is Dr. Olayinka Fayomi. I'm the Chairman of Foreign Investment Network. What we have been doing in the past cumulative 43 years is promoting investment to emerging markets, particularly Africa. And for this, we have visited over 50 countries, organizing platforms, events for investors to come in. We have hosted a number of events in India because we believe that it's important for us to touch the places where we need investors. So I'm very happy to be here. I arrived here from Juba, where we are also working with South Sudan to bring in investment. Now, I'm originally a Nigerian, and but the company I work for promotes for most of the African countries. Thank you very much, Kenya, for the opportunities. But talking about Nigeria, as you said, Nigeria is a big market. I mean, with a population of over 250 million people, there in all of the sectors, there are opportunities. And there are many Indians who are in the country. We've had a long-time relationship with India. I mean, when I was in Gujarat last time, I was on the national TV in India, all presenting the opportunities that exist in Nigeria. For example, talk about healthcare. Nigeria alone spent about $40 billion on healthcare. People going abroad, going to India. And I'm sure many of you understand this. Even myself, I've been to India a few times for medical care. And if you think about this amount, it's so much, $40 billion. We also spend so much money importing agricultural foods. I've been sitting next to Mr. Prakash here, who is a big businessman in Nigeria, importing a lot of things. But now the focus is, rather than importing, consuming is production. So, but how can we make this possible? We have to partner. Without partnership, even both continents cannot achieve something better for the two countries. We have opportunities in the cultural sectors. When we talk about Nollywood, Bollywood, Nigeria is number 2 when it comes to movies and music, entertainment, creative economy. So these areas present great opportunities. When we talk about agriculture, in Nigeria we have 80 million hectares of arable land, and yet we import, right? We just got a contract to import from Nigeria tilapia and shrimps, $12.6 million of import, which they want every month. You can imagine the opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities in healthcare, in agriculture, in manufacturing. I mean, people are already experiencing it. So, in education, can you imagine the amount of money that Nigeria spends on education? And similar to what we have in South Sudan, and you discover that the problems are similar in most of the African countries. I've been to many African countries. I've been to over 88 countries now, looking for opportunities and how we can do the best connections for countries to benefit. In Africa, the problems are similar. South Sudan, similar to Nigeria. Once Nigeria and oil-producing countries discovered oil, everybody focused on oil and neglected the other sectors. Now, what are the opportunities for you? In healthcare, education, pharmaceutical, estate development. Nigeria today is short of 28 million houses. You can imagine. 28 million opportunities. So in recent time, when you check online, you find out that the millionaires that are coming out of Nigeria are either from the IT sector, more are from the estate development, because there's a shortage of real estate development for people. So in telecommunication, it's the same thing. You talk about airline aviation, great opportunities. And I don't blame people who have not come before now. But right now in Nigeria, the current government has put in place enabling opportunities for investors to come in. Okay? There are incentives depending on the sector that you want. If you look at the current administration, the administration of the President Ahmed Tinubu, there are special customized incentives. You look at the ports department, marine, blue economy. You discover a lot of opportunities. There are ports. Nigeria is blessed with ports. And also, Nigeria produce and supply to the entire West Africa. So it's huge market more than 300 million. Thank you very much.
I think, what you have mentioned is around about $200-300 billion of opportunities, and especially, yes, of course, I agree that, pharmaceutical industry, India is one of the greatest partner in Nigeria in the pharmaceutical industry. And with the new governance and the new compliance in place, there's opportunities for the foreigners and especially the Indians become very easy and friendly. Because see, Africa is not same as it was 30-40 years before. 40 years back, 30 years back, I used to say that when I joined my father's business in 1990, and when I overlooked at Africa, I say that Africa is a chest of treasure with a serpent sitting on it. If you tame the serpent, treasure is yours. Now it's no more. It works on the good governance. It works on compliance and good policies, where it's investor-friendly policies. Now, Your Excellency, Rwanda, though it is a small country in the central south of Africa, east of Africa, Rwanda is synonym to Dubai. It's called Dubai of Africa. Your Excellency, please explain what Rwanda makes as a country, as a Dubai of Africa, and what this synonym came from.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes, thank you very much, my friend Mustafa Saasa. First of all, I'm happy to speak along with Kenya and Nigeria, because in Rwanda we champion Africa, because we believe the future is Africa and India, of course. By 2050, the population of the continent of Africa will be aged 25. You can imagine how the future lies in Africa. Rwanda was at the forefront to champion the continental free trade area, making Africa one market, like here in UAE, one market. Now we have it, it's operational. So this is to invite you that if you invest in Kenya, in Nigeria, in Rwanda, you can export to any other country in Africa without paying duties. This is one market. So I think India and Africa, we can really partner and make the world better. Because at the end of the day, as human beings, what really matters to do is to leave a lasting legacy. And this lies in what we want to achieve as human beings. And as Rwanda, your question, why Rwanda is referred to as Dubai of Africa. Rwanda is safe, Rwanda is clean. You can just be surprised when you land in Rwanda and you think, no, it's not Africa. But actually, the main objective of our leaders in Africa is really to transform our societies, to transform our markets. And we believe we can do it. If Rwanda can do it, you remember, everyone remembers that in 1994, Rwanda faced a very, very bad genocide, which devastated the country, which destroyed all economic infrastructure, destroyed the social fabric totally. And now, 30 years later, people reconciled, we have reconciliation, people work together, people grow Rwanda to become now known with numbers first, second. Rwanda is second in doing business in Africa after Mauritius, according to the ranking of World Bank. World Bank doing business index. You register your company in Rwanda within 6 hours, not 6 days, 6 hours. You register your company, and of course you are safe. We are striving to have a medical hub as a medical tourism in Rwanda. We are working on that. It has started. We have already established a healthcare city, like healthcare city in Dubai. We are striving to have started a small DIFC. We have a Kigali International Financial Center, which is really growing dramatically. Now the ranking is really speaks with itself. So opportunities in Rwanda, secure, green, clean country are huge. Actually, in all Africa, there are untapped opportunities. You can, in manufacturing, for example, if you invest in manufacturing and construction, you get incentives. We have what we call a manufacture and build to recover program that was instituted when after COVID to revive the economy, on corporate rate, on income tax. You have opportunities in the ICT. Rwanda now has embarked on innovations. For example, this ring, which is produced in Rwanda, contains all my data. If I share with you my business cards, it will not be in papers. It's only on this ring, and it's produced in Rwanda. We have opportunities in agriculture, in healthcare, and so on. So name it. So we are open. Africa is open. To do business with Indian businesses for the success of all our countries.
Thank you, Excellency. It's a wonderful opportunities what you shared. And my experience of Rwanda is our first office when we did in Africa was in Rwanda, and we were surveying all the countries. And I personally went and we started a country. Can anybody guess how much does it cost to start a company in Rwanda? Any guess? Yes, absolutely. It's zero cost. And Your Excellency mentioned 6 hours. My experience was 2.5 hours. So that was the
He speaks better Rwanda than me. He's our ambassador.
It was very difficult for our manpower to maneuver to Africa. When I said everyone, I want to place you to Africa. Sir, place me anywhere in the world but not in Africa. Then, we said, okay, we'll give you a 1-week holiday trip to Rwanda, go there, and then you give us your experience. Because, I stayed for a week when I came, and I was on a special government invitation when I came there. But in the evenings, I used to move around in the city to get the feel from the grassroots level. And Your Excellency, I was very much overwhelmed by some of the Indians 4,000 Indians living in Kigali, and their testimony was that you carry a 5 kilo gold in your hand and walk on the streets, nobody will touch you. So this kind of feedback we got. One of our Indian restaurant owner, he said, my daughter comes at around 11 at night and I'm not worried. So so when I sent my people to Rwanda first time on a holiday, and Your Excellency, none of them refused to stay over there, and they all based in Kigali, and it's growing. And with the conduit of the DP World, dry port over there, opportunities have expanded, and it's going wonderful over there. Ms. Rosalind, this Kenya, apart from a very, very good safaris and scenic places, in fact, my son-in-law just did a factory 1.5 years back in Nairobi, and it's quite successful because of the COMESA agreement. You can do business with all the 22 COMESA countries. Can you just throw some light on how this manufacturing will help from Kenya to all the COMESA agreement countries?
Sure. I would say, first of all, that India has built Kenya, not only Kenya but Africa. And Kenya, in terms of pharmaceutical manufacturing, Kenya leads in the EAC. And so all this, the COMESA agreement was pushed and voiced by Kenya, because in terms of manufacturing, by the Association of Kenya and India, Kenya has really grown. So COMESA and every other trade agreement is facilitated from Kenya. He will agree with me, because we were first in manufacturing, having tapped the experience and technology and assistance from India. So it's something that has been pushed. within the 23 countries, the agreement. Another thing that right now is happening is that by association and working with the Indian government, the healthcare has really improved. Yes, I'm seated here as a beneficiary of India healing the world, and if you ask me, my second nationalism will be India. I really want that citizenship. I'm telling you, I am a mother to a proud daughter seated there who was saved by India. So I will tell you, India is building the world, and Kenya, we saw this many years ago. And after it happened to my daughter, Kenya and India worked together, and same technology is now available in Kenya. And that is what we are now opening up to the members of the EAC. Like, people not really killing the medical industry in India, because your Prime Minister said you don't want to make money, but you want to heal the world. So yes, we are really facilitating trade within the East African community.
Thank you. Very quick, Dr. Fiona, in Nigeria, what are the key factors where you can attract Indians, in Nigeria, and as a different, in terms of how somebody going to Nigeria, what are the challenges, or any facilitator office from the government or any private consultants who can help them in establishing and exploring such opportunities, what you mentioned in your previous point?
Thank you very much. First of all, I think the best people who can convince the people who are in this room are the Indians themselves. Because right now, in Nigeria, we have 150 Indian companies, 150. They employ, with over $27 billion of investment in Nigeria, right now as I speak to you. The Indian companies, they employ the largest number of Nigerians outside of the federal government. Now, people will wonder, because there are a lot of negative stories, news about not only Nigeria, but Africa, right? About Africa. When I heard about news about South Sudan, I was so scared to go there. But I've been there for 4 days. I just came back yesterday. And all of those news are not the same. So you just discover that because Africans are yet to have the power of international news, then they say all kinds of things about us. But today we change the narrative and say one more thing. The government of Nigeria created the Nigerian Investment Promotion Agency. That's the government agency. I was a pioneer staff, 1999, okay? I retired as a director of investment from that agency. It reports to the presidency. This agency is open for all of you. Many people go into Nigeria not knowing about this agency. You are free to go there. They have one-stop shop. You can register your company on the spot. You can get all of your licenses. All of the information that you need for investment, you can get it there. Thank you very much.
I think, after this session, you are going to be one of the most busiest people flocking on to you to connect and, take their business. And I'm sure with 150 businesses, after this 2 days event, you will add a substantial count into your Indian companies in Nigeria. Your Excellency, very quick on this, that, as an entrepreneur over here, what facilities as a consulate in Dubai offering to our Indians, present in Dubai, and many of them have visited from abroad. What consulate facilities can be extended to them for Rwanda in a very precise?
Very quick. To go to Rwanda, you don't need a visa. You get a visa on arrival on red carpet, especially as we come from India. Secondly, we have a pro-business government who will facilitate you from registration to investment, and even looking after you, asking whether it's filed with regular meetings with the Rwanda Development Board to ask you whether it is filed, and we review annually the rules to ensure that pro-business rules And so, if you are, I would expect Indians, for example, to invest in fintech through the Kigali International Financial Center. You have incentives, healthcare, financial and manufacturing, agriculture. All opportunities are open for you.
Thank you, Excellency. And one more thing with all these three countries of Africa, Dubai and India has a direct flight. So the accessibility to all these three regions are very good. And I'm sure Your Excellency and Dr. Fioni and Ms. Rosalind, that a lot of people will explore these opportunities from what you have discussed and take it to the next level. Once again, I will thank all these panelists to be part of this and enlightening our audience and our members to take their business on next level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Saasa. Please be seated. Please be seated. Please, our distinguished dignitaries, Your Excellency, kindly be seated. Ladies and gentlemen,